Namaskar viewers, I Dr. Renu Tomar welcome you to series of lecture on women and education. So we are connected through the medium that is the lectures on Gurukula. So friends, taking up from the lecture which I left last time, we were talking about women education in India. We were discussing that what are the factors which stop women getting educated. So continuing on the same issue, we shall be taking it ahead and try to understand that how NEP 2020 is going to deal with it and how it has been dealt by the previous policies before. So we discussed so far that it is the parental reluctance to educate girls which is a huge factor which inhibits access to the education of the woman. In fact, there were other factors also which were discussed. The factors like the choice of the parents in Indian society, if given between the educating the woman and the men, then naturally they end up at educating the boy, educating the men. So resulting in limiting the education of the girl child. Another thing which we have discussed so far is that the society views on the woman is also something which determines its role, and the role of the woman which is determined in the society is that of a homemaker, that of a breeder, the child rearer. So that because that delegates them the choice as far as the mindset that girls are there, the education of girls is not going to reap any returns as far as investing in their education is concerned, and investing in the male child is going to make him more responsible and caring for the aging parents. So this is also one of a psychology. This is also one of a factor which determines that why the girls are not being educated. With this kind of a mindset, the families doesn't like to invest on the girls as far as educating them is concerned, and because they don't see it as an investment, they see it as a waste of money. Another thing which we have discussed in our previous lecture is that why women and girls receive far less education because of the social norms, because of the fear of violence. We talked about the social taboos as well as cultural taboos which are attached to sending the girls away from their homes. They are resulting in not educating the girls. In fact, here I would like to quote Sonalda Desai in her book on gender inequalities and demographic behavior. She has argued that that another disincentives for sending the girls to the school is concern for the protection of their virginity. This is something which we have already discussed, and this has been pointed out by Sonalda Desai also in her book. So this is one of the aspects which is very much important whenever the sending the girls to the school is concerned. When the schools are located far off and teachers are male and the boys are also there studying in the school, then the parents prefer not to send the girls to the school because that may have the potential assault on their virginity. Currently, India women contributes only 18% to the country's GDP, and this is one of the lowest in the world, and 25% of the India's labor force is women. When we have almost 50% women in our population, then why is it so that only 18% of the current GDP is coming from the women? This is a question which all of us need to answer. But for that, all of us have to question ourselves. Why is it happening? Why are there inequalities in education for girls? Why the education has been made so complex for the woman? Why women have to face explicit barrier to entry to the school? Why is there violence against women or prohibition of girls from going to the school? These are the issues, these are the questions all of us need to raise to ourselves. Another question which I already discussed in my previous lecture was pertaining to STEM, that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Why there is disparity when it comes to educating the girl? Why the STEM, these subjects, that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics, these subjects are supposed to be well suited only to the boy's psyche. not to the woman's psyche. And this kind of psyche is not rooted just in India, it is rooted even in Europe and North America. So, these things are not understandable, that why such kind of thinking is there in our community, society, even in the developed nation. Still, if we compare our nation with the United States, to quote certain data from the United States, from the Western countries, women have surpassed men at many levels of the education. In fact, women earn 62% of the associate degrees and 58% of the bachelor's degree, 60% of the master's degree and 50% of the doctorate. This statistics, this data itself shows that in US the women are doing much better when it comes to education. That itself shows that the women education is getting the priority when we compare our nation to the United States. The reason for not sending the girls to the school is also rooted in the fact that there are geographical differences. In fact, when we have a look at India, in the various states in India, we find that in certain states the education is so low, the average is very low in comparison to the national literacy rate. And there are certain states, for example Kerala, Goa and Mizoram, where it has been, the record has been comparatively higher as far as literacy rates is concerned. But if we compare Kerala, Goa and Mizoram with Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, where do we stand? On the two different, if one is at lowest level, the other is at the highest level. So, the geographical differences is also having an impact on the literacy rate. So, we need to understand why the literacy rate is having an impact as far as geographical differences is concerned. Why female literacy is different in the different states. To understand that, we will need to have a look at the cultural perspective in those states. For that, we will have to understand that how the culture and society in the states such as Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh need to be changed in the same line on which the societies we have in Kerala, Goa and Mizoram. For example, in Kerala, the education of women is rooted in their culture. In Goa, equality of women is rooted in their culture. Mizoram, it is matriarchal society. So, we have to pick up certain aspects from those society and try to have those aspects into the societies which are educationally backward from the point of view of women education. So, this is something which we need to attend to as far as these states is concerned. Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, these are the states which face problem as far as education is concerned. So, we need to attend to that. Another aspect which we need to consider is that there is disparity as far as the literacy rate in the urban and rural areas is concerned. Why is there a difference between the urban and rural area is concerned? It has been shown and proven that gross enrollment ratio when measured in the urban India was completely different when it was measured in the rural India. In fact, in the rural India, it was almost 3 times lower than that of urban areas. So, these are the aspects which we need to look into. And when we talk about gross enrollment ratio, at the aggregate level, it is almost 13%. And still, the interstate variation is something which is alarming, which we need to attend to. And apart from that, the difference between the urban and rural is something which we need to attend to. In fact, through initiatives such as Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, now which is called Samagra Shiksha and Right to Education Act, India has made remarkable strides in recent areas when we talk about nearing universal enrollment as far as elementary education. So, RTE has addressed certain niggling obstacles of girls attending schools, including lack of toilets and other safety concerns. So, elementary education has been attended to. Now, the problem is with the secondary education, because the proportion of schools have improved a lot. When we have a look at the statistics which we had way back, that has improved a lot to such an extent that the girls' toilet in 2018 in comparison to 2010 has reached 66.4, and that is a good figure if we compare it to what we had previously. That means that we have made certain we have worked upon certain aspects, we have implemented certain policies, we are trying to ensure that the girls get safer environment in the school to increase the percentage of girls who are coming to the school. From these statistics it is clear. Now we have to understand that where we are failing. We are failing because the RTE was attending only till age 14. It failed to, and moreover it failed to acknowledge that housework is more pressing reason for girls not being in the school. Agricultural work and the housework, that needed to be banned in RTE provisions, and because it was not banned, the result was that most of the girls who were in the adolescent stage were not in school but back home, either working as agricultural worker or working in the houses as house worker. So this is something which was needed to be banned. Another important aspect which we need to look at, let us have a look at a report of the National Commission for Protection of Child Right, which says around 40% of 15 to 18-year girls were out of school, and among them almost 65% were engaged in the household work. So it itself proves that because the RTE failed to acknowledge the housework also a kind of a work which children should not be engaged in, the result was that the girls were working at home. So this is aspect which we need to look into and attend to. Apart from that, other reasons why the girls are not in the school is the marriages, and of course the child marriage has been banned by the government, so it has been taken care of. But if India could have the girls studying, that means if the 50% of the workforce which is sitting home and not getting educated, if they could be encouraged to study and participate in the workforce, then by 2025 the GDP of country would be $770 billion. This is the statistics as per the report from McKinsey Gender Parity Report, which was issued last year for the country, that is India. So this itself shows that if we are concerned about our economic and social development, then the participation of women in the workforce is most important thing, and to improve participation of women in the workforce, we need to encourage girls to study. Now let us have a look how NEP 2020 is going to ensure curtail the dropout rate, particularly at the secondary level education and the higher level education, so that the universal access to the education at all level can be ensured. Because this is something we discussed in our last lecture also, that NEP 2020 has understood the fact that they have to ensure the girls are also studying in the secondary education. How they would ensure it? They have understood it from the perspective that the girl education should be the top priority, and it will be responsibility of the state and the government and the school to get those children back into the educational fold. The dropout rate is to be controlled, as well as the dropout which has existed in past, that has to be addressed too. Gross enrollment ratio in preschool to the secondary level by 2030 shall be achieving 100%. This is the perspective of NEP 2020, that they are looking for 100% gross enrollment ratio by 2030. So as we stated before also in the previous lecture also, that answer to the problems lies in NEP 2020 perspective. There are two side initiatives which have been proposed in NEP 2020 which need to be undertaken for bringing back girls to the school. One is to bring back children back to the school, children means girl children, back to the school, as well as to control the dropout rate. For that, they have made RTE Act effective till 18 years of age and till grade 12th. That means RT Act will be mandatory, will making it mandatory for all children to stay in school till they are 18 years. So, students have to have access to the safe and engaging school education. This is something which need to be ensured by the government as far as NEP 2020 proposal is concerned. Then they have also talked about improving the credibility of the government school, how the credibility of government schools can be reestablished. This is also one of an aspect which has been discussed in great detail in NEP 2020. As to work upon it, the infrastructure needs to be developed, the building, the quality of schools need to be developed. Moreover, it will be very important that the children will have, the girl children will have school in the vicinity. This is something which government will have to ensure. Apart from that, alternative education, that is alternative education centers will be opened. That means informal education will also be stressed upon, and this will be addressed with the cooperation of civil society. That children of the migrant laborers and the other children who are dropping out of the school due to various circumstances, they are brought back to the mainstream education. NEP 2020 has also tried to address that to achieve universal participation in school, it will be responsibility of the school institutions or the state government that they carefully track the students as well as their learning level, as to ensure that where are to be enrolled again and how they would be attending the school again. Another thing which NEP 2020 has proposed is that equitable and quality education is must. When we talk about equity and equality, that itself means that the suitable opportunities have to be given, and these suitable opportunities can be given to the children to come back to the school at any stage, from to class 11th also, 12th also, that would be open to the children whenever they are coming back to the school till they are the age of 18. So, suitable facilitating system should be put in place as far as the provisions in NEP 2020 is concerned. Moreover, NEP 2020 has also tried to address this issue by talking about gender inclusion fund. Gender inclusion fund means that the government will be issuing certain gender inclusion fund that would be there to build the nation's capacity to provide equitable quality education for all girls as well as transgender students. How it would be done? This fund will be given to the states, and the states will be responsible for implementing that, prioritizing it, determining which are the critical areas in which the female and transgender children need to gain access as far as education is concerned, such as provision of sanitation, toilets, bicycle, conditional cash, transfer. These are the things which will be decided by the state government depending upon the grassroots reality, and funds shall be available to the states by the center. Another provision which has been discussed in NEP 2020 regarding women education is that this fund which will be given to the state, that would be resulting in community based interventions also. That means the local issues, the context issues, the barriers to the female and transgender children which are rooted in the culture, rooted in their community, that also need to be addressed. That would be addressed by improving the participation of the community in the education of girl children and transgender. So, there have been discussion on providing the funds for educating the children as well as providing the free boarding facilities which will be matching the standard of Jawahar, Navodaya Vidyalaya and school location. The students may have to come from far, particularly for the students from socio-economically disadvantaged background. They would be provided with suitable arrangement for the safety of children, especially girls. So, here the standards will be equitable with Jawahar, Navodaya Vidyalaya. Even the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, they need to be strengthened as far as NEP 2020 provisions are concerned, and they need to be expanded to increase the participation in quality schools up to the class 12th as far as girls are concerned, and girls, particularly girls from socio-economically disadvantaged backgrounds are concerned. So, additionally, Jawahar, Navodaya Vidyalaya and Kendriya Vidyalaya will be built around the country, especially in aspirational districts, special education zones and other disadvantaged area to increase high quality educational opportunity. And even the preschool section which covers at least 1 year of the early childhood care, that would be added to become part of the Kendriya Vidyalayas and the other primary schools around the nation. So, the children who are becoming part of the Kendriya Vidyalaya, they would become part in the pre-primary and they would stay in the same school till class 12th. And because there will be more Kendriya Vidyalaya school as well as more Jawaharlal Nehru Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, more schools they will be built around the country. The result will be that the girls will have more education opportunities. So, friends, today we have discussed that how the women education is important and how the women education has been addressed by the various nations in the world at large. So, we need to understand that when we talk about the women education, when it is being attended to, what are the factors at which we failed. To conclude, the factors which have discussed due to which the women education have failed are lack of infrastructure, as we have already discussed that there were schools, in fact there are schools which lack even the basic amenities like toilets. The school does not have even the doors to the toilet. This is something which have been proven by various researches. And another factor which is very important is that the girls in the society and the community are not seen as earners. They are seen as there to address the issues like the sibling education or the sibling safety. They have to stay back at school, they have to address the household work, they are made responsible for working on the place of their mother because their mothers are going on work. So, friends, how can we control those issues? RTE, which exists presently, had controlled this issue by ensuring that may it be the girl, may it be the boy, till he or she is of class 14, he or she shall be going to the school. And in case the child is not able to go to the school, then informally with the help of certain NGOs, those girls or those boys are being educated in the evening classes, and this is ensured that those children are educated. But this is not happening with the adolescent stage. This is not happening with the secondary stage. So, this is something which we need to address because various statistics have proven that the dropout rate is not so high. The enrollment, the GER is very high when we talk about primary, and even the dropout rate is not so high. So, we have been able to address the education of girls at the primary level, but we have not been able to address the education of girls at the secondary level and at the university level. This is something which needs our attention. This attention has been provided by NEP 2020 when they have talked about that RTE will be extended till age group of 18 and till secondary school. Secondly, they have also talked about universities becoming the unitary universities will be changing their shape. They will become more vocational. So, when the vocational education will be introduced in the education, naturally the society, the community will see it as more work oriented. Another aspect which is being attended to and which also needs more attention is skill education. There are agencies, there is ministry which is involved in educating the girls as far as training the girls as far as skill is concerned. This need to be somewhere brought together with the formal education system as well as informal education system, because all are working in their different domain. This is also resulting in having the lesser output of the policies or lesser output of the investment which is being made in the women education. That means the agencies which are working on behalf of skill education, they shall be working along with the formal education setup, that is the schools, that is the universities. It should be working with the universities. Only then we would be able to say that vocational education and formal education are walking side by side and holding each other's hand. If they are holding each other's hand, then naturally the result will be better. They will be much better and they will be more productive also, and the family and the community will be able to see education as generating revenue, because if the education is able to change its model as a revenue generation model, then it will be seen as beneficial for the society at large. So, this is something which we need to look at, and this issue has also been addressed in NEP 2020, when it has talked about that all those forums which are involved in education or training of children, they will have to come together and they will have to work together under the one roof. All the ministries will have to join their hands and work parallelly for education of children, particularly the disadvantaged group, and of course, the women education is a disadvantaged group. So, friends, with this we have discussed almost all the reasons why the women education is still not being able to achieve the 100% GER as far as India is concerned, and what are the reasons which are stopping girls from going to the school or to the universities. We have also discussed that how it can be improved. We have also discussed that how NEP 2020 has tried to address this issue of girl education or women education, and how far those problems have been visualized as well as attended to in NEP 2020. With this, friends, I take your leave. I shall meet you in the on some other topic, talking about some other issue in the education and discussing it in great detail. Thank you, friends. Namaskar.